And welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2018. I am Musical Daredevil. Coming up next, we have our Mass Effect run by letterswords. Yes, I did indeed confirm with the runner that his name is pronounced letterswords. All right, and that pause was me just hearing that we are going to be restarting the stream now, so stick around, we will be right back. And welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2018. Again, we are back, or at least I think we are. If not, I guess some of what I just said got cut off on stream. So while we wait for Mass Effect setup to be complete, I'll just get to a few donations here. We have $150 from Chris Dofer. We have an anonymous $175 donation, an anonymous $200 donation, and $500 from Warwick. Thank you all for your generous donations. We have $20 from Makus. Thank you. You're welcome, Makus. We have an anonymous $25 donation. Dark Souls must happen. And checking up on that Dark Souls incentive, we have $55,000 raised, almost $56,000 out of $75,000. We are over 2/3 of the way there. So definitely get your donations in if you would like to see AGDQ last just a little bit longer. We have an anonymous $100 donation for Father. We have $50 from Lithrak. Love the games being run and the outstanding runners and volunteers. Big shout out to all of them. Let's make Dark Souls happen. Greetings from Switzerland. We have $50 from Stood on a Lego. Ouch. In honor of Bracentia's wishes, here's a contribution to help make sure Arby's makes an appearance during GDQ. Arby's casting Meteor in the Final Fantasy IV run? Yes, please. We have $200 from Drew F. I'm so happy to donate to such a good cause while watching such a fun race. My mother dedicated her career to helping beat cancer and then had to do it herself a few years ago. Let's help everyone else beat it like her. We have $200 from Snad Monkey. Best of luck to all the runners. We have $200 from Mike254. If we all work together, cancer doesn't stand a chance. Thank you to all the organizers and runners of this amazing event. We have $150 from Iko Wilkin. Thanks for this beautiful event. Keep up the good work and good luck to all the runners. Let's kick cancer's butt. And we are all ready to go on our Mass Effect run. Take it away, letterswords.
I can't hear anything now.
Okay, well,
Hi.
we were muted for a second
Okay.
there, but we're here
Hello.
now.
Hello.
Hello.
everybody.
Can you just confirm that I'm supposed to be playing as female, not male, incentive-wise?
Hold on, I am refreshing right now. And it looks like Fem Shep did indeed win the bid war.
Okay, cool.
Surprise level.
Hello,
Zero.
everyone.
Yes, that was very expected.
This is, exactly what I predicted when I put this bid war up. But, I was hoping because,
Yeah.
male Shep is funnier. So,
Yes, all true speedrunners want male chef.
all right. Are we ready to? Can I just give a countdown? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, hi everybody. This is Mass Effect. So you just saw the first thing that I'll do that doesn't make any sense, maybe, which is I grenade myself. That gets me into combat, so I can run.
Yeah, it just allows you to sprint. There's really nothing more to it than that, except that it lets you go faster. You don't really need the grenades in combat, so why not make yourself run faster when you couldn't otherwise?
So yeah, while we're talking about male versus female, there's no difference speed-wise. They're both exactly the same. For this game, there's really no difference. There's one difference now that used to not be a difference, which I'll explain when we get to it, but it's about, I don't know, 7 minutes away or so. That's the reason why I wanted male to win, but unfortunately, no luck there. So yeah, we got a nice cutscene here, so maybe a quick donation.
Or maybe a roll call first.
Oh yeah, I'm letterswords. Behind me here is Al K47 and your name here.
Yes. So the two of us on the couch have previously run this game at marathons, but Letters is the best at the game out of anybody. So
He's the one playing, that's why.
Yeah, quick donation is fine.
We have an anonymous $50 donation. We had to donate during the first game in our favorite series. Let's hit 2 million on this final day at GDQ and kick cancer's butt.
You got time for one more.
How about 2 more? We have $150 from both Beautiful and Steelbrain. No comments.
Okay.
yeah.
So the first thing we're getting to here is Eden Prime. This used to be the worst planet to do in the speedrun, other than maybe Ilos.
It was just boring.
Yeah. The front part of the game was loaded with cutscenes, but luckily we'll be able to.
Yeah. So after this got into AGDQ, I decided to go back and look for some new stuff, and Well, I found one completely new thing here, which made this planet a lot more bearable, and then I decided to be crazy and do something no one in their right mind would do, and we'll get to that much later in the game. Okay, so kind of related to, trying to get in combat, these little gas bag things will just put you in combat even though they don't really have any health.
Saves a grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right after this cutscene here, where our favorite party member Jenkins dies. I'm
Yep.
sorry, spoilers.
You can't save him. I tried very hard.
Yeah, yeah. It's really funny if you just console command off this planet to somewhere else, it'll just remove him from your party. It's really strange.
He can't live anywhere except on Eden Prime.
Yeah.
This is-
And technically on the Normandy before it, but yeah. So right there he's using warp. That's damage over time, and more importantly later on, it reduces an enemy's defense. And then he's taking a couple points in other things, specifically Singularity, which is to kind of stun lock enemies and lift them up in the air a little bit, and Marksman. Marksman is the main damage dealer because most of your damage is going to come from your weapon. It makes it more accurate, fire faster, and deal more damage. So pistols with Marksman active are roughly on par with assault rifles. Now here he's crouching, quick saving, and loading. You're going to see a fair amount of this because the game doesn't quite know how to handle it when you do that. And so he's somewhere where the game does not really expect him to be. And if all goes well here, he will not fall off the side. Good, he's got it. So now he's kind of next to the map. He's going to activate combat there just by kind of shooting at some enemies that are there. And now he's going to run around out of bounds and fall back in later, skipping a couple cutscenes, also skipping Ashley's recruitment, though she will show up mysteriously later. She's not going to actually be in the party for Eden Prime at all.
So you might actually be surprised, but not having Ashley for the rest of this mission is actually sort of problematic, and we had to change our route a bit to do that. So we used to not level up at all in Eden Prime. Because we could kill the enemies easily enough with Ashley and Kaden shooting some random guys, but now it's actually a problem for this one fight up here.
Yeah. So up here there's a tram that you have to take, and there are some powerful enemies on it, and a lot of them just kind of shooting at you. And that's a problem when you don't have a slightly better armor that we would have had without this skip, or say something like the barrier skill, which you can theoretically pick up by this time. But just having Ashley around as basically a damage sponge alone is really important.
Yeah. And also, because Ashley wasn't in our party, when we talked to the dock worker back there, the cutscene didn't play, and because the cutscene didn't play, none of the enemies spawned, and we need to kill all the enemies to leave. And then, so we need to save and load to respawn the enemies.
Yeah.
But when we save and load, we're in the middle of all of the enemies, so it's a much tougher ordeal to get through.
Yeah, so this part here is really why we needed Marksman, because you can die really fast. This actually went way better than it normally does.
Yeah.
Also, interesting to note, there's like 2 Geth that are right at the start of this tram. For some reason, you don't have to kill them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So yeah, that gets through most of Eden Prime. We have a little bit left to do here, just defusing these bombs. So one other thing we didn't really mention is, so you saw me right when I got back in bounds, I looted some crate. So basically, the biggest problem with this game in any percent is random item drops. You really need to get some decent guns to have a lot of the later fights in the game go anywhere near well, and even the earlier fights. So I'm trying to like get a better pistol by opening crates. So you'll see me open one there, another one right here at the end of the planet, and in various other places throughout the run. But yeah, you can do it with you can definitely beat the game with terrible guns, but
It's slower.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, like the final boss would take like over a minute slower if you had like even a medium gun versus the best gun you could get.
Yeah. And to put that in perspective, like the final boss takes like a minute normally if you have a really good gun. So
Yeah.
it takes twice as long if you don't have a good gun. So it's really bad.
And one thing that you can do at the end of this planet which you'll see him do, is he'll just kind of walk up to the beacon and activate it. There are normally some enemies that spawn there, but if you kill the other ones that are already spawned before the husks get off of their little indoctrination spikes, then you can just trigger the end of the planet and the husks will kind of stand there. So keep an eye out for that. It's one of the easier and more minor skips you can do, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh man, this guy's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta kill.
So yeah, you
all
have
the
to be
enemies.
out of combat.
Or, well,
and-
you have to have killed all the enemies.
Yeah.
So there he used
Oh
throw.
man, this guy's in a bad position.
yeah.
All right, we're good.
he
So
used-
if you kill, if you're even briefly out of combat there before these other husks come after these spikes, you'll be able to click the beacon.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in another cutscene, so this is a good time for donations.
We have $11.11 from Rex. Shepherd. Rex. Shepherd. Rex. Shepherd. Rex. Shepherd. I should go.
So,
Apologies in advance. You're not going to see Rex once during this run.
if you mess up, you'll see Rex. If you see Rex, it's bad. So, do you want to talk about this cutscene?
Oh yeah. So you see this part where Kayden is running up like this, and we're throwing him away. So if we had been male, it would have been Ashley that's supposed to run up and us throw her away, but we never recruited Ashley, so Shepard would just kind of run up, grab the air, and then throw the air away, and it would still make noises like we're grabbing someone and throwing them, but nothing would be visible. And that like brief look over there at nothing was where Ashley is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
pretty good cutscene.
That's the biggest difference by far between the two, male and female.
Okay, we can go back for another donation or two.
And speaking of characters we'll probably not see during this run, we have $150 from Garrus Vicarian. Good luck with the Mass Effect speedrun from all the fans in the Hoodiverse.
You will see Garrus during this run, but
Briefly.
for about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So get hyped for that. I'll call it out when it happens, otherwise you'll miss it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's only like one other difference between male and female throughout the whole run, which is this cutscene right when we get on to the Normandy, but it's just it's not like any slower or faster. It's just, you know, if you're male, you have Ashley in the room with you when you're waking up on the Normandy, and Kaden in the room with you if you're female waking up on the Normandy. But other than that, there's basically no difference the rest of the way through.
And you may be wondering why he's skipping dialogue so fast. That's because he has dialogue skipping bound to the scroll wheel.
Yeah, so I have a Logitech mouse, which has a frictionless scroll wheel, which is very good for this game because not only does it help for this dialogue skipping, but there's some skips we're going to do later on that you really need a fast mouse wheel to pull off, and it's much easier if you don't have just like a normal mouse wheel. I know some people have done some of the skips without a fast mouse wheel, but it's like really hard.
Yeah, basically, unless you have free scrolling, frictionless is ideal, but just with a free scrolling wheel, you can get most of the skips pretty reliably. It requires a little bit more timing as opposed to just being able to go fing and just let it run and keep it going. But it's still, you need the at least the free scrolling in order to do it.
So that, and that's the reason you hear all those like poing, poing, poing sounds when I'm doing dialogue. It's because I'm like spinning my mouse wheel, but it can't make a selection at that time, so it's just telling me to not press anything right now. But I'm like, no thanks. All right, you got time for another like 1 or 2 donations here.
All right, although before I do, as a fellow owner of a frictionless scroll wheel Logitech mouse, I will say they are amazing for running. We have $100 from AARon56. I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite donation of AGDQ.
You can do one more.
We have $20 from Dippy. Here's to beating cancer and saving Kayden in Mass Effect.
Aw, dude. Good choice. So, yeah, we got saving Ashley and Kayden later on. That was, you know, a bit closer than male versus female, but, you know, it could still turn. It could still turn.
Yeah, there's actually a little bit of
So that,
disagreement
yeah.
between us about whom to save. Like, I don't care, so I just go with the faster dialogue option, which is saving Ashley. Because I don't use Kaden in the last fight anyway, but Letters likes to use him.
Yeah, so basically the whole determination about that is whether or not you want to have Kaden for the final boss fight. I like to have him because he has lift, and it just gives you some more leeway for the final boss fight if you're not the only character with lift, or you have like multiple other party members with lift, because then they can also stun the final boss.
Yeah, whereas I just bring Liara and Tali and call it good.
Yeah, so Tali is also nice because she can like damage his shields, but I don't know. I've always preferred Kaden. It gives me generally better fights. Okay, so now we're on the Citadel. So this is going to, Eden Prime may have looked, other than our one out-of-bounds section, basically like we're just still linearly going through the area, but that's not going to happen at all on the Citadel. So we are going up to the Citadel Tower first. We're going to go meet our buddy, everyone's favorite character, for 2 seconds. Yeah, so here we go. Hi, Garrus.
So you have to talk to him here, or else when you travel back here, you'll just be warped to where Garrus is. So it saves a little bit of time to speak to him here. So now, you saw him on Eden Prime, crouch in a corner, quick save and quick load. He's going to do that again a couple times here. So if the first one gets him just outside of the little catwalk that you're supposed to be on, and now he's completely out of bounds.
Yeah.
So kind of going through the blackness or whatever the environment is in the area you are is kind of a theme in this run. Right now, he's making his way down to Korra's Den, the speedrunner's way, which is, where he needs to go next for the quest. He hasn't found out that he needs to go there technically, but you can still go there, and since you're out of bounds, you can get into the area where Fist is, which is where you need to be, trigger that fight, and then progress without even doing all the things that the developers would have expected you to do.
Yeah, so the only place we would see Rex is if I accidentally fell inbounds here, which I didn't. So yeah, no Rex during this run. So sorry, Rex. But I haven't actually seen Rex in a while in a run because I'm usually not bad at I usually don't mess that one up anymore. But when I was first running this game, that happened to me a lot. I would line up wrong, and yeah, it would happen. Okay, so we need to run back over here to actually trigger the fight with Fist because we're not in combat when we drop down over there because the trigger to put him in combat is back here. Okay, so now I'm going to do another level up to grab Barrier because as a result of what we did here, this fight is going to be very strange.
Yeah, so you have to run out through the bar. Normally, you fight on your way in to Fist, and then you have to fight again on your way out. But because of the skip, all the enemies from both fights are there right now.
And also, once he leaves the bar, enemies who are supposed to be there even earlier in the game will also be there. So it's just stacking so many things against you.
So yeah, because there's so many guys here, I really need Barrier, and I also need to use it twice because otherwise they'll die, most likely.
Yeah, it's very likely that he would die without Adrenaline Burst and then being able to use it again.
So yeah, Adrenaline Burst is actually the main reason we play on Vanguard during this one, which is something I didn't really discuss yet. Biotic powers are really good in this game. So we used to actually play on Adept back when I started running, but I kind of looked into it more and was like, why aren't we just playing on Vanguard? We get most of the same abilities, but we also get some weapon damage boosts, and we also get Adrenaline Burst. So Adrenaline Burst is a really cool ability. Basically, all it does is it takes every other ability you have off cooldown instantly when you use it, and that has allowed for a lot more freedom in using abilities a lot during certain fights, which helps a lot. So I'm going to try to use Throw here, and if I get lucky, which I didn't.
Which you didn't,
Yeah, sometimes that assassin will die instantly, but it's actually fairly uncommon.
Yeah, he get knocked by the box or something and dies to physics damage. We're not really sure.
Okay, good. I did that fast. So there's music that's supposed to play when you finish that cutscene or finish that fight. When you're going into this, but if you go fast enough, you won't get that. And so I call that music whenever it plays the music of shame, because I know I did bad if I hear it. You only need to be about 5 or 10 seconds slower than I was there to hear it. So it's not that uncommon if you make some small mistakes to hear it.
Yeah, it's also very possible for the assassin to deal a lot of damage to you very quickly, and then you just kind of have to duck behind cover or something, and then you're probably going to get that music.
All right, so we're going to head up to the Citadel Tower again, because we do still need to progress the quest a bit, and we need to talk to the council to do that. But as you may have noticed, we didn't talk to the council yet, and we were supposed to do that before going down to Fist. We're supposed to bring the evidence against Sarah in there. They're supposed to tell us, oh, you don't have enough. Come back with more. So now it's going to try to play both of those cutscenes at once.
And that's a problem.
So
Well, it's a problem and a blessing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for some reason you just have control during that cutscene, which
Yeah.
you normally can't like bring up the menu or anything during a cutscene, and you can just quick save and reload. And you actually have to do that because right where you saw me quick save, it'll just soft lock the game if you just leave it there.
yeah, so like what happens is when you start a cutscene, it takes away all your control, and when you end a cutscene, it gives you all your control back. And if there's 2 cutscenes playing at the same time, you will end the first cutscene and still have control during the second cutscene.
So something I like to do during marathon runs is kind of voice act this cutscene.
So I'm going to pass it off to him.
Commander Shepard, step forward. Now, I take this very seriously, guys. Very seriously. All right.
It is the decision of the Council that you be granted all the powers and privileges of the Special Tactics and Reconnaissance branch of the Citadel.
Spectres are not trained, but chosen. Individuals forged in the fire of service and battle. Those whose actions elevate them above the rank and file.
Spectres are an ideal, a symbol, the embodiment of courage, determination, and self-reliance. They are the right hand of the Council, instruments of our will.
Spectres bear a great burden. They are protectors of galactic peace, both a first and last line of defense. The safety of the galaxy is theirs to uphold.
You are the first human Spectre, Commander. This is a great accomplishment for you and your entire species.
That was very good, very accurate.
Yeah. I think I really captured the spirit of that cutscene and, the gravitas of the moment.
So we are now done with the Citadel. So one thing you may remember from playing Mass Effect a lot, especially on the Citadel, is that there's a lot of elevators, and we really don't like elevators. Interestingly enough, actually, most of the elevators in the game don't start loading anything until like right near the top of the elevator. So yeah, so we can skip pretty much all of them without wasting wasting time on a loading trigger. So now we're gonna do that.
So this is the first zip in the run. Sometimes when you go out of bounds, it shoots you up way in the sky. Here it's very useful that it does that.
So shout out to Glassnonk. He's a Star Wars speedrunner, mostly Knights of the Old Republic, and he actually found this setup for this out of bounds, which used to be way more complicated. I used to drop down below, line up near something, drop off the side, and he just found a way to drop straight down from that bridge up there and hit the Normandy.
Yeah.
So, do you want to? Someone want to explain how this?
Just as a fun fact, below every map in the game there is a Normandy. It's just on you to find it, and if you fall down there, you can go inside.
Yeah. So another thing that I didn't mention really is that we use a lot, which is also a big reason why this game is very different on PC versus Xbox, is when you want to get out of bounds, a lot of times what you do is you walk up to the edge and then you crouch and it'll drop you off. You can't do that in console versions of this game. So
Yeah.
a lot of these skips, you can get out of bounds, the same way, but like you can't do anything with it because you just get stuck because you can't crouch and get off the side.
Yeah, so far every skip that he's done is possible on console, but the one to get to fist is only possible through some other shenanigans. You have to avoid crouching and uncrouching and instead do another save load, which fortunately you just have a long enough distance that you can fall where you land on top of the same place you would anyway with the PC after crouching and uncrouching. But for other skips in the game where you don't have that distance to fall, you'll just end up at the bottom of the map and be soft locked.
So yeah, so we have 4 main planets in this game that we have to go to. We have to go to Noveria, Pharos, Therum, and Vermeer. And Vermeer doesn't unlock until we've at least done 2 of the other ones. So we've messed around a lot with the planet order, and this is actually relatively recent change to go to Noveria first. We actually used to go to Noveria first a while ago, but some strats we had made it more valuable to go to Therum first, and now we're back on Noveria first. But it's not exactly the same planet order as we used to use.
Yeah, the bottom line is that there are post-planet cutscenes, and Liara makes them longer, but we found a way to deal with that. But then the skip on Eden Prime became a thing, and that messed with experience and equipment and all that routing later on. And so we ended up coming back here first again for other reasons.
So I'm going to explain 2 things really quick. For some reason, if you just shoot at that box, you get in combat. No one knows why. So this is going to be the next type of main skip in this game, or whatever you want to call it, strat, glitch. If you swap weapons like frame perfectly, you can delay certain cutscenes from playing. And if you quick save and load before ending swapping weapons, you'll just skip those cutscenes. It only works for ones where you have like dialogue options. So pretty much all the ones you've seen me do so far can't be skipped.
This is elevator number 1, by the way.
Yes, this is the first elevator we've taken in the run. So we skip about 2/3 of the elevators that you'd normally see if you just did all these planets the intended way. But yeah, so that's a nice benefit. So yeah, it's important to show that off, the weapon swapping glitch there. That's the best chance you're going to like see how it actually works, other than like one other place. Because most of the other times you're going to do it, you're not really going to understand what's happening before it's over with. That's the only time we really do it like on a planet. You'll see what I mean at the end of this planet when I do it again. I'll explain it, but you won't really be able to tell that that's what I'm doing.
So these glass panes here are really thin, and you can just kind of do the crouch, quick save, quick load against them and get past them pretty reliably.
So yeah, walls and locked doors and stuff, that's all just an illusion. You don't need to worry about any of that.
And normally there would have been a very long fetch quest there.
Yeah, but no, we're just going into the garage here. So this is going to lead very shortly into the first Mako section of the game. Why are they not moving? Okay, I don't know what happened there. Oh man. Oh man, heal me please. Okay. This is a bad fight. So yeah. Normally I can like kill both the destroyers before they get to me, and the 2 party members will kill the Geth Sap or Ghost or whatever those ones are, the ones that jump around.
Fun fact, those doors lock if you quick save and quick load. It's kind of not supposed to open like it did there,
yeah,
but
so
it just does.
None of us actually knew that until I was making backup saves the other day, and I like made a backup save in the garage before that door and then tried to reload it, and the door is just locked. I was like, what?
So you had to go back and talk to the security person for it to unlock like you're kind of supposed to.
Yeah. So what I ended up doing is just making a backup save further in. So hopefully we won't have to load any backup saves, but I am prepared for that eventuality, because another thing that we didn't mention yet is that the autosaves in this game are really, really terrible. Really extremely terrible, especially on Noveria. Like, the first autosave on Noveria, we'll see, is like 2 minutes before the end of Noveria. And Noveria is the longest planet in the run at like 17 minutes. So, yeah, it's pretty bad on Noveria. We have quick saves in a lot of places, but we have to, a lot of the times, keep those available because we use them for skips. And it's also possible that we can get soft locked if we screw something up when we're setting up a skip, and then loading the quick save won't help us at all. So yeah, backup saves were important for this.
In the meantime, he's going to be trying to kill things along the way here, especially the turrets, which give the most experience, other than the armatures, which really aren't feasible to kill. You can kill this armature without losing time. I've done it a couple times, but it's more risky than it's worth because there's just a good chance you'll either go way off the path you want or you'll plummet to your death. So in the meantime, just kind of pay attention to that. You're going to see him doing some turret sniping, but this is otherwise a fairly unremarkable driving section, so we probably have time for a few donations.
Yeah.
We have $20 from Vino. Will Garrus have time to get any calibrations done?
He has all the time in the world since he's not even with us.
Well, actually, isn't he still with CSEC, so he has to deal with regulations and all that stuff. We have an anonymous $50 donation. Love the Mass Effect series. My playthroughs take 30+ hours. Want to see how it should be done.
Yeah, this is
Debatably.
this is clearly intended route. They wouldn't have put it in the game if they didn't want you to do it. So
Keep going.
We have $150 from John. Hello, AGDQ. Good luck to the runners from France. Will defeat cancer. Longtime viewer, second-time donator. Always a pleasure.
Merci beaucoup.
and shout-outs to the French Restream. They have a Mass Effect runner doing commentary, which is very nice.
Yep. He actually, basically picked up the game, from what I understand, just to be able to do commentary on it. So that's pretty.
And he's
pretty
got
nice.
a fairly decent time too.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna shout some. I was hesitant about talking about this, but because I'm not going to do it. But there is a really crazy thing you can do. So this thing right here, you can jump across the canyon from it. I tried about an hour in practice to be able to show it off. I didn't get it once, so I decided not to do it. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I really need this experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't get it once. I landed just below. So you're supposed to land next to this thing here. I landed just below it every time that I tried, or not even close. So I just gave up and said, okay.
And it would have saved 10 seconds, and it's super risky.
Yeah. So shout out to Glassknock again. He was crazy enough to try that in his 2 weeks of doing runs of this game. I could not. I think he may have had a better setup than the one I was using, but I could not find a video of him doing it. So. Yeah, that also was a reason I wasn't able to do it. But yeah, it's really not marathon safe or even anything other than segmented safe. So yeah, can't really do that. Okay, so I want to shout out something that happens to me at home that doesn't happen here. So if you have anything AMD processor-wise that's newer than the Phenom series, which is 2009. You and every enemy in this room here will be just giant black boxes, and it'll basically stay that way for the rest of Noveria. Not the enemies, but you, for sure.
Yeah.
And that is a really annoying thing for me to run this at home, because I have a newer AMD processor than a Phenom as of 2 weeks ago, or no, a month ago, because I used to have a Phenom before this. So I was on a really terrible computer for a while. But now I have a computer that can run this well, and then, black boxes everywhere. So yeah, shout outs to Intel. They know how to optimize for old games.
So if you want to play this game, you should probably get an Intel PC.
The one thing I will say, though, is that the black boxes that appear in some places are just hilarious. Late in the game, the conduit has some black boxing issues, and it is epically hilarious.
Yeah, so if you really want to see what it looks like, you can go to some of my past broadcasts. That is the only good thing about having the black boxes everywhere, is the conduit looks really sick when it's not textured properly.
Yeah, or if you can find the Scrubathon run that I did, I haven't been able to find the VOD. I think it may have disappeared into the void of Twitch. But yeah, I made sure to point that out.
So yeah, we're getting ready for another skip here. So we just gotta kill these guys. So every skip we do on Noveria is gonna be the one at the end of the Citadel, in that we're gonna get teleported to the top of the map when we go out of bounds. That's not true everywhere on Noveria, actually. I was looking for new skips, and I just assumed everywhere on Noveria would do it, but that's not at all the case. If you get out of bounds from the garage at the beginning of this section, you don't get zipped to the top of the map, and then it's completely useless. Okay, so one thing I need to explain that I didn't really do back on the Citadel is that most of the time when you're out of bounds, especially these really long ones where you're at the top of the skybox,
And
you're
it's
using the
actually a-
mini-map to figure out where you're going.
And it's actually a box. Like, I love how you can see clearly when you're up high how the geometry just
Yeah.
is not smooth.
Yeah, so what I do here is I look for that little X on the minimap and bring it off to the basically bottom tip of my minimap. And then you basically have to line up with the right edge of this like elevator marker. And hopefully this will work. This
That
might be
might be-
too far. Okay,
Oh, you
that's
got
fine.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So this is actually probably the hardest one to line up properly because there's not a lot of leeway.
It's pretty easy to get it a little bit farther left than there, a little bit safer. That is ever so slightly slower, technically. I usually use that kind of gray box that's at the top of the tram station as a second reference to further refine my position.
Yeah, so you didn't really see it when I was doing it because that's not the way I line it up. But if you like look down below you, there's like a partially loaded gray texture that's just like a box. You can use that to
Yeah.
line up as well.
It's like the ceiling to the area you're trying to hit.
Yeah. So we got another little one here. So despite Novaria being the longest planet, we actually do skip like a decent amount of like the side diversions, like down to the hot labs and all the side stuff you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and also
It's just
like,
that this planet is really long, just in general.
Yeah. Well, and also like restoring the tram that's what you just skipped. That took a long time.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is the last time you're going to actually be able to see what I'm doing when I'm doing the weapon swapping skip. Every other time you won't be able to tell because I won't be doing it like in the middle of a planet where you can actually see me swapping weapons. Okay.
So that just skips the Captain Ventrellus thing there.
Yes, that one saves a very small amount of time, but because you can get into combat if you don't do it that way.
Yeah.
But his cutscene is long enough that it just barely saves some
Yeah,
time.
because the cutscene is long, but also if you do the cutscene, then an enemy will spawn and you'll get combat and you'll be able to sprint. So it's like a little bit of a trade-off.
Okay. All right, so I'm just checking some equipment there. I got not very good luck, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hoping for possibly a different weapon mod, but especially an armor mod, because there's a glitch you can do to equip armors that are normally not equipable for you. And he would have used that to trigger that glitch and put on the silver Bacterian armor that he had, which is significantly better than what he has equipped currently.
So shoutouts to this out of bounds. Every Mass Effect runner who ever picks this up tells me they have no idea how to do this one, and I think this is the easiest one to do. But they just all don't listen to my tutorial when I tell them how to do it.
I don't think it's that bad. Like, I did at first, but then I realized, oh, you take your weapon out, and then you can freeze your momentum.
Yeah. So for some reason, when you have a gun out, you can actually change your momentum when you're falling like this, but not without a gun out. So what you do here is you go forward for a while. You get the X mark on the bottom of your minimap, and you pause and you let go of everything. See, no hands. And then you just wait, and you'll eventually drop into this cutscene. And I landed a bit farther forward than I want to, but it's okay.
And he's facing that direction because he's going to send his party members over to that other
Yeah.
corner.
This
Because-
fight is like the most dependent on having your party do things because it's such a wide area.
Yeah, and they can be fast or slow, and they can even displace the enemy spawns. So there is a fairly significant amount of stuff that can go wrong in this fight, but if all goes well,
Oh,
you'll see that
this is
happen.
bad.
Yeah.
I did not bind lift here. That's bad.
You can get it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm
anyway.
gonna just manually lift.
Yeah.
No, manually lift her and also bind it.
Yeah, you want to be able to lift the Asari commandos because they
Oh,
like to use throw against you,
Yeah.
which
Come on, guys.
stun locks you for a bit.
Okay.
They also have barrier, and one of the great things about using biotics on them is that they also cannot use their defensive abilities, so it makes you kill them a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because their barrier is more than their entire health bar would be normally. So it takes more than twice as long to kill them if they have a barrier up.
So he's using Singularity there to
What are
lift
they
those
doing?
enemies and more likely than
There you
not
go.
kill all of them once they fall to the ground.
She used barrier literally right away.
That's unfortunate. Basically, what you want to do is you want to use throw on her immediately to stun her. Overheating weapons is annoying.
Okay.
The first section of the fight went reasonably well, but
Yeah,
now...
so if I died here, it would not be that big of a deal because the one autosave on this fight has already happened.
Yeah.
And this entire planet has
Yeah,
happened.
this entire the one autosave on this planet is halfway through this boss fight, which doesn't make any sense to me.
So you can see how obnoxious these Asari commandos can be.
Yeah, so... Oh man, that one didn't even die either.
The one is out of bounds and still alive.
There's this gigantic kill plane. It's supposed to land on it when you knock them off the ledge, but
So yeah, that was a really bad fight, but we had really bad guns, so it's not
Yeah.
really surprising.
Yeah, still using the starting gun is not ideal.
yeah, we're basically, if you're keeping track of what we're picking up in drops, we're looking for pretty much any pistol.
Yeah, and we have the pistol, like the second worst pistol we could possibly
Yeah.
have at this point, which is really bad. And then we have pretty much no useful gun mods because we have one that increases damage against synthetics, which does nothing here.
It'll be good later, but
Yeah.
for now, you'd actually prefer damage against organics.
Yeah, so there's two different ones you can get here that would be good. One is, yeah, damage against organics, which is shredder rounds, and you can also get chemical rounds, which is what I personally prefer, which is like a damage over time poison effect type thing, but it does like more bonus damage than shredder rounds does. So now we're gonna get to this. So you may, I think some people may have been expecting that there would be donation incentives for choices like this, but this is actually, we have to make specific choices here to go as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So we have to, even though this cutscene is longer, if you pick the Renegade choice here of killing the Rachni Queen, we want to be Renegade for later in the run, so we kill the Rachni Queen here, even though it's slower
Yeah.
to watch this cutscene versus the one where you let the Rachni Queen.
Yeah, you are actually forced into being Renegade in New Game. In New Game Plus, you can just watch the shorter cutscene because you can have all the Persuade and Intimidate ranks that you want. But in New Game, you have to pick one or the other, and because of other
Okay,
shenanigans...
well that's bad.
Yeah, the grenades love to clip through the floor sometimes, especially in particular places. That's one of them. The
Yeah.
one on the Citadel is another one.
Yeah, so a lot of times like on uneven structures like ramps and stuff, they'll just clip straight through because
Yeah.
stuff is not like close together all the way.
Yeah, he does still have a grenade though, which is pretty good.
Yeah, so you've gotten 1 or 2 random drops so far?
Yeah, for sure.
And right now, he's coming up on the end of the...
I can't do it.
Okay, yeah, he's trying to kind of do a little physics quirk with these benches. Almost got it. But you kind of fly towards your party members. You can actually bump them out of the way. It's kind of funny. So what he just did there was an application of the scroll weapon swapping glitch.
What?
What's happened?
I'm very confused. Okay.
What? That's new.
We have
Okay.
a new one, people.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen before.
That is very weird.
Yeah, so...
So what I think happened there, if you guys were paying attention, it popped the dialogue up on the screen. That's because I accidentally hit save instead of load at first, and it went back out into the menu, and then I got confused. But we were fine. We still skipped the cutscene. So yeah, that is an application of the weapon swapping. You can skip all the end of mission cutscenes if you are like weapon swap or like spinning your mouse wheel to weapon swap as you load in, and then quick save. Because for like during the fade in, you still have the ability to swap weapons, even though you're not in a place you should have access to your guns. So yeah.
And those skips are technically possible to do without free scroll, but not even remotely consistent.
Yeah, so
Message coming in.
most of them don't save very much time. So I think without free scrolling, there's only one end of mission cutscene that's really worth trying to skip.
Yeah,
Because if you screw it up at all, it just wastes time.
And that would be the last one. You'd probably actually go Therum last if that were the case.
Yeah.
But now he's on Pharos. Pharos is normally another fairly long planet.
Yeah, like you have to go up, talk to some people, kill a bunch of guys, go back down, go up, drive for like 5 minutes, kill some more things, drive 5 minutes back. It's very long.
So shoutouts to your name here. He actually knows what you have to do on this planet. I have no idea what you
Yeah.
have to do on this planet.
Yeah, he started speedrunning after we discovered this skip, so
Yeah,
he has no idea any of the...
Yeah, so I actually have not played this game casually in 8 years. I played, my last casual playthrough of this game was also like one of my first casual playthroughs of this game. I first played this game in January 2010, which is right before Mass Effect 2 came out. And that was basically by accident. I was, you know, it was the mid-2000s were a bad place. We still had to go get games at GameStop. And so I was at GameStop picking up Dragon Age Origins in like November, 2 months earlier, and I just wanted them to stop talking to me and just let me leave with the game. So they're like, "Do you want to pre-order this game?" I'm like, "Sure. Here's $5. Stop trying to convince me." And then, so like 2 months later, I was like, "Oh, I probably should play the first one if I pre-ordered this game." So I borrowed it from my friend, and that was basically the only time I've ever played this game casually. I've played 2 and 3 plenty of times casually, but I never actually owned one until I bought it to do the speedrun.
Yeah, so
So this is the reason why I have no idea what happens on this planet. Is because, so if you remember this game at all, you have to, the end of this planet, you basically go back to the outpost here, and you go to fight the Thorian, which is like hiding underneath their outpost, and you know, it's poisoning all the people's minds or whatever. And you can just click down to where it is right at the beginning of the planet. So the 32 Renegade points that I get right there are the reason why we have to go Renegade during this run.
yeah, even though everyone technically survived, the way the game is programmed apparently is such that
Oh, cool.
you are forced into getting Renegade points. It's like, did you do one of the actions that saves them, i.e. knocking them out with a physical attack or using chemical grenades on them? But since you did neither of them, it just gives you the Renegade points, even though they're all still alive.
Yeah. So ideally, I want to be one level higher here. You saw, if you paid attention closely, you saw I was like less than 100 experience away from leveling up. So I'm going to actually kill these guys and go into my level up menu again, unfortunately. That's the one main issue with the experience route still, is right at the beginning of this planet, you can end up just barely not level 11, which is what you want to be for this fight. So I'm level 10 and barely away from 11. So these first few enemies, yeah, should get me up. Because I really want to have advanced warp for this fight. So that's what I did there. Okay, so this fight is probably the most complicated fight in the speedrun, and I'm going to try to pass it off to my co-commentators to explain it, because I actually have to pay a lot of attention to what I'm doing here.
Yeah, so there are two things that are unique to this fight. The first is the Thorian node, and the second is the damage resistance mechanic associated with the Thorian node. So the way it ends up working out is you need to kill a certain number of enemies to lower the damage resistance of each Thorian node enough so that you can destroy it. Once you destroy all of them, you win the fight. The Asari clones are worth more than the basic Thorian creepers in terms of how much resistance they provide, as well as having abilities like the Asari commandos in the Benezia fight on Overia. So you want to take them out first for multiple reasons, just to get them out of your way, to kill them quickly, and to drastically reduce the damage resistance of the next node you're going to shoot. There's a lot of cooldown strats, basically. So you might see him also switch to his shotgun, like he just did there, if he overheats on his pistol. He's going to be using Warp on the Thorian nodes to additionally decrease their damage resistance, because that's one of the effects of Warp. But he's also going to be using Throw and Lift, whichever he has available on these Asari clones, as much as he can to just, incapacitate them. He's also going to be killing a fair number of these Thorian creepers, even if they're not associated with a node, just so that his hit point sponge party members can be there to absorb damage and take aggro and just keep the heat off of him a little bit.
have time for a quick
So
donation?
yeah, oh yeah, go ahead.
All right. We have $10 from Ace PhD. Hey y'all, great stuff so far, but Dark Souls 3 still hasn't been met and it's coming up in about 4 hours. Please pitch in for this great run. Praise the sun.
Yeah. So one thing about the Asari Commandos that luckily you haven't seen yet is that they can knock you down. You'll get ragdolled. You'll be on the ground for like 10 seconds. It's a terrible time.
Yeah, and this one is particularly resilient, this node, for whatever reason. And you have to shoot it a little bit to get the creepers around it to start spawning. And then here is another one that's actually really weak. Like, pretty much you kill the Asari clone, and then you can just go right to shooting it. And you probably noticed that sometimes the Thorian creepers just explode. That's because the node that they were associated with was destroyed, so they just go poof. So it's kind of a mix of killing the creepers to kill the node quicker, and also killing the node so that you don't have to kill so many creepers. There's a bit of a balancing act.
So right now he's in a bit of a tough spot because he had to use 2 powers on one of the clones. So this one was able to knock him down because he didn't have a power up to take care. Oh no!
I saw that one coming.
All right.
So this is like pretty much the worst place in the entire run to die. Okay. I think I'm gonna load a backup save rather than do the whole fight. This one.
Yeah, so there is actually a point in the fight where you can just kind of back out a little bit, and
Where is this?
this is before.
Okay, I know
Yeah.
this is.
So at this point, you can actually back out a little bit, get out of combat, have any downed party members. Like you can see, Kaden was very low health when he loaded in. That was because he had dropped when he was making the practice save, but he backed up, got out of combat, the party members raise, and you're able to save in the middle of the fight. So that's one of the fortunate things about making backup saves for marathon strats, even if you would never do that in a.
Yeah, I thought about doing that because this was not like going so well, but yeah. As soon as I don't know. It was probably better to not use throw to take this one down and just take the knockdown here rather than up ahead, because it's easier to survive back there if you get knocked down than it is up here. But yeah. So if I had reloaded my save, I'd be back before this fight, which means I would have wasted like 6 or so minutes. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
all right. Well, I did lift them all.
Yeah.
So at least I won't die. Where did?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
this is like the worst fight in the game.
Yeah.
I
by
absolutely
far.
agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
agree.
if you don't have good guns, it's even worse. Like, you saw me, maybe, if you're paying attention, like, there's a weapon locker in the middle of this fight, and I literally go into that because this fight is so bad. Because, like, if I can get a better gun during this fight, it saves so much time that it's just worth the extra menu time. So yeah, sorry for invalidating this run, but, we got a
no
marathon
longer.
to run here, and we want to make sure we don't interrupt it too much. Okay.
Yeah, so here, obviously just finishing off the last node. There are a fair number of creepers that will pop up here, but you don't need to kill all that many of them before its damage resistance gets down low.
That was my fault.
Yeah, so just switching to the shotgun there to finish it off. It does a lot of damage when you're up close and personal. And there are going to be a few more cutscenes here, so if you want to read a donation or two, this is probably a good time for it.
All right, but first a quick update on that Dark Souls bonus game incentive. We are just a little bit over $15,000 away from it. I know there are many of you out there who want to see some Dark Souls, so get your donations in. That slot is coming up fast. We have $50 from Dr. Morden Solis. I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian. I'm quite good at genetics as a subset of biology because I am an expert, which I know is a tautology. My xenoscience studies range from urban to agrarian. I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I think I may have gotten the melody a bit wrong in the middle there, but it's been a really long time since I've watched that cutscene, so I gave it my best shot.
Morden's awesome.
Morden's great.
It makes me happy that he's one of the main party members used in the Mass Effect 2 speedrun.
Oh yeah. I'll make sure to get some shoutouts in for the rest of the games, other than 3. Pretend that one doesn't exist as far as speedruns are concerned.
Also Andromeda.
Well, that one just doesn't exist in general. Sorry, BioWare. I still love you. But yeah.
Yeah, you
Andromeda was not a good showing for BioWare. I'm sorry.
So you can actually interrupt this by doing the weapon swap quick save quick load thing, but you end up stuck in this area. You can't get out.
Yeah, so shoutouts to practice. I was actually going to show off something here if you interrupted this because it's really funny, and it had never caused a problem for me before, but I don't know if it's like differences with the route or something, but I tried to do it, in practice, and it soft locked the game. So, yeah, I decided not to show it off because soft locking is bad. But yeah, typically what happens is you can interrupt that cutscene the same way you would with weapon swapping, and then you reload your save, and you could eventually. In my past experience, before very recently, Shiala was just standing there, and you could just re-enter the cutscene by talking to her. But when I've done it recently, she's just not standing there, and then you get soft-locked. So yeah, practice is a good thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go for something that's not really worth it, but I do want to show it off. And this is part of the reason why Pharos is no longer at his previous position in the run. Okay, it's no longer like after you've acquired Liara. So this cutscene is a lot harder to skip than the other ones.
Yeah.
I got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Even before we changed up the route, so that planet order changed, I would.
Yeah.
I switched my planet order to what we do now preemptively, even before the skip kind of forced it. That happens sometimes with your weapon out.
Yeah, so I'm just holding nothing here. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It is a shotgun, though.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do anything.
So yeah, let me explain how that one works really quick. So when you enter the ship normally, like by clicking the button to go back into ship, which you only do on Pharos, you get your guns taken away like automatically as a process of going back into the ship. So what you have to do instead to skip the cutscene there is you have to mash quick save, and frame perfectly. As soon as it lags enough after the quick save to quickly load the game before the cutscene starts playing, because you can't delay it. Like you basically only can delay it as long as the lag from the quick save lasts. So yeah, it's pretty hard to pull off. And then not only that, once you do that, then when you reload that save, you have to do the weapon swapping thing to skip the rest of the cutscene. So yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, and you can sometimes get a weapon swap in there for the first one. The first one is the hard part.
Yeah.
But it takes longer. Like he lost real time there by doing that skip, but whatever. He wanted to show it off. And it's a little bit easier, I've found, if you don't have Liara in the party. I don't know why, but it just is, at least in my experience. And one last thing I want to say before he starts driving the Mako through here, is that the next planet we go to in Vermeer is where we're going to have to cut off the save Ashley or Kaden incentive.
Yeah, so we got about maybe like 10 or 12 minutes left before we have to close that incentive off. So if you want to see, Ashley or Kaden survive, get your donations in for whoever's behind. I assume Kaden's still behind, but maybe you guys are being nice to me and letting Kaden survive.
Kaden is indeed still behind by around $1,300.
Oh, it's closer.
Yeah,
it was
it
about
is.
2,000 something when I started the run, so yeah.
It is
Yeah.
getting closer.
If you guys want to make me happy, donate to Kaden.
Yeah, so there isn't a whole lot of tech in this main Mako section. There are a couple things you can do. One of them is coming up here in a little bit. He's going to do what we call gate skip.
Yes.
You can actually skip both of the gates here, but really only the first one is very feasible. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of slope that you can use to kind of jump up, and then if you basically mash the hover button instead of pressing it down, you can get a little bit of extra duration from it, and therefore a little bit of extra distance, end up on top of the thing, and just, if all goes well, not get stuck on there for too long and drop down past it. I have a rather amusing picture, which I may tweet out after this, where I actually somehow managed to get stuck at the Mako's front end in that little gap between the circular thing, the cylinder, and the main roof of the of the little.
Okay, this is just
area.
gonna. This is
Oh,
probably gonna
yeah.
get pushed, but whatever. I'm not gonna spend any more time lining it up.
It's pretty spectacular, and some really silly
All
things.
right, we
can
got
happen.
an
Slight-
Edge 2,
yeah,
which is
that's-
very good.
Edge 2 is actually a good enough
Oh,
weapon
man,
to
come on.
finish the run with. Ideally, we're going to get something better later on,
Yeah.
but that means, at least we're not screwed
Oh,
over.
cool. We still did reach it from there. That's nice. So yeah, ideally what you want to do with the Mako there is park it like right next to the railing, and you could actually like exit and get on the side of the railing, so you don't have to like run around to the ramp to get into that room. But I don't usually pull it off because you want to get out of the Mako pretty quickly so it doesn't get blown up because they're shooting at you in it. Because the Mako can actually get blown up pretty easily in that section, especially if it takes you like a long time to get over the gate there. Like you saw me there get kind of stuck on the top. That's not unusual to get stuck on the top and still make it over. But ideally, you can just go straight over pretty simply without any struggle. But yeah, that skip I think for me was the hardest one to learn how to do properly in the whole run for sure.
It took me a while to get consistent at it, but like I wouldn't say it's the hardest skip at all. Not even on Therum.
Oh yeah, it's not the hardest skip. It was the hardest skip to learn how to even do for me. Like,
Yeah.
but I think the hardest skip to get fast is the other one coming up here.
Yeah, this one is in a couple minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this planet is the only one with a lot of like Mako tech. Like I said, there's that one skip you can do on Novaria that no one actually does, but this is the only one where there are actually 2 skips you do while in the Mako. There's none on Vermeer. Well, I don't know. There's sort of something on Vermeer which we'll get to, and there's nothing on Ilos, skip-wise,
Yeah.
with the Mako at least.
We'll see about Isla Skipwise when you get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming up to the end of the Mako driving section, technically speaking.
Yeah, where the game expects you to get out of the Mako.
Yeah, but we're not. We like the Mako. The Mako is our friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually want to stay in the Mako longer.
Mako does a lot more damage than you do.
It also goes a lot faster than you do walking. Well, sort of. So I'm going to kill these guys here because this is the most likely place that I would soft lock the game.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure I kill all these guys and then save the game.
Yeah, so there's this little opening here that the Mako is not supposed to be able to fit through. But if you go at the right angle, you can clip through.
Oh.
That doesn't usually happen.
Yeah, obviously.
Usually you just get stuck in it. You don't usually fly out like I am. Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Okay, I'm just going to reload my quick save.
Yeah, you can flip over the Mako, but at that point it's
It takes a while to flip
yeah.
over the Mako, so it's all right. That's not usually what happens when you have to reload the save. I could have stayed with that save, and if I was doing like an actual run, I would have definitely just kept going for it. Okay, here we go. So what
This-
usually
that's good,
happens
yeah.
if you get stuck is you get stuck on these rocks, that rock right there.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So yeah, that is the most difficult skip I would say
Yeah,
in the run
I
to like
agree.
do fast.
Or like even to learn, like I could not describe to somebody how to do it. I can do it, but like,
Yeah. I basically tell people, here's a video, figure it out.
I can
That's
only-
basically what I have to tell them. It's like, you kind of have to aim a bit to the left. That's basically the only thing I can tell them to do, though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, you just need to feel your way through it enough times to know what to do. Like, once you've done it a couple times, you can, like, know what you're supposed to do. But doing it fast and, like,
Yeah.
consistently every time, that's basically never happens for anyone.
And you
Yeah.
can get through this area pretty quickly, or you can get hung up on stuff very easily.
Yeah.
But one consequence of coming in here with the Mako is that it just breaks the AI in this upcoming fight before you enter the Therum mine. So that's actually really nice because there's an armature here, and fighting it on foot, which you have to do to enter, is pretty annoying. But
Yeah.
with the Mako here, it's like
it's a normal kind of enemy that you fight in the Mako.
yeah.
So yeah, this cutscene is also very broken by being in the Mako. You're supposed to be like running around and hiding from this stuff, but that doesn't really happen anymore. So yeah, none of these enemies will attack me, which is great, especially because this armature is here, and I can do so much damage to it by being in the Mako. But one interesting thing to note is that you get a lot more experience killing enemies on the ground than in the Mako, so that's why I got out to deal the last few points of damage there.
Yeah, armatures give a lot of XP. You saw that he got a little over 100 XP while driving in the Mako, and you get far more than that.
Yeah,
if you're
I got
outside
about
of it.
300 from killing it on the ground there.
So there's another 2 elevators in this section, but like we said before, we don't like elevators, so we're just going to exit combat, and then quick save, quick load while crouching in this corner here, and now we're going to be at the bottom.
So this was actually the first clip found in the game, from what I understand.
Well, yeah, it goes a similar way, but it uses a different method.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the quick save clipping was not actually found for quite a while after this game came out. But there were some clips, but you had to I don't really know how to describe it. You want to describe what you had to do?
You had to walk along a seam and get ejected from it on top of the railing, because the game can detect that you get stuck and then eject you out. It's very, very hard to do. But now you can just sort of phase through walls.
Okay, so yeah. One other thing I wanted to point out there is it's only really ever used right there. I kind of screwed it up, but you saw me try to put my party members in a specific place. When you're on a timer to enter a cutscene that has some dialogue in it, if you talk to one of your hit talk on one of your party members.
Yeah, the cutscene was waiting for Liara to finish talking before it would play.
That was a pretty good laser, by the way.
Yes,
not too
that is completely random.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's completely random on PC, completely set on console.
Yeah, that's the most annoying thing about playing on PC versus console.
It's pretty much the only advantage console has, other than having more precise control over the Mako. Oh, also, hi, Liara. Just kind of sitting there inside the floor.
Like we said, walls are just an illusion.
Yeah, the sequence of stuff you had to do there didn't make any sense. You're supposed to go talk to Liara, then go down, activate the laser, then go somewhere else where you blew up the wall and go up the elevator. But we don't like elevators, so we clip through a wall instead.
Yeah, this elevator, however, is forced, so we have to take it.
Yes, this is elevator number, 4?
Let's see, there's the one
No, there's a bunch on Novaria.
the one in Port Hanshan. There were 2, right? 2.
2 going up,
Yep.
and then
Oh, and then another one going up, so this will make this.
3, 4.
I think
So
it's-
4 in Novaria,
Yeah, 1 here.
1 here, and
This-
none in Ferris, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So up to 5.
Yeah. We're about halfway through all the elevators you'll see in this run. Oh, man.
So that Krogan Battlemaster can actually be really tough to kill,
so yeah.
especially if you do this planet first.
So yeah, we used to do this planet first before finding the Eden Prime skip, but we no longer get enough experience to have either advanced throw or lift for this fight. If you do it that way.
Yeah.
And those are the lowest rank abilities that will knock him down. So this fight becomes really not good
Yeah.
with the current route if you do Therum first, which is why we've moved to not doing Therum first
Yeah.
anymore.
And Krogans in this game are they have immunity, they have a healing ability. If you let them get those off, they take so much longer to kill.
Yeah, and immunity is damage resistance, so it just becomes really hard to kill them because they don't take much damage and they heal.
So yeah, there's 2 main advantages of doing Therum first, which I could talk about. One of them is getting the Mako parts out of the way at the beginning of the run. So those tend to be the hardest parts to grind out, getting good times on Therum when you're doing runs. So having it at the beginning is nice. The other is no longer actually useful, which is it also used to be nice to have Liara for combat, but as a result of something we're going to be doing a little later on, we no longer can use Liara until much later in the run.
And remember to not put Liara in your party here.
Yeah.
This is very important.
Yes, okay, so we need to cut off the bid war here between Kaden and Ashley. So, who do we got?
So right now it looks like Ashley has indeed won the bid war, but I'm going to be refreshing in a few seconds here, so we'll just make doubly sure that is indeed still the case.
It's okay. You have about, I'd say, 3 minutes or so before we need an answer. We just wanted to get it cut off a little bit early, so if there were any last-minute donations that didn't properly get attributed, they could be fixed.
Nice. We think of our donors here at AGDQ.
Okay.
So this is a Mako driving section. It's pretty unremarkable except for a couple places where he has to get out to open gates. And in those places, he's going to try for a rather precise positioning of the Mako so that he doesn't have to run all the way back around and can just kind of hop into it from up above. That's pretty much the only major tech in this section, so it's also a good place for a few donations.
Yeah. Yeah, donations are good for right now. When we get to those parts, I'll, call it off. But yeah,
All
go
right.
for a couple of donations.
We have $20 from Sorrow Song. Very excited to see one of my favorite games of all times at AGDQ this year. I played the entire Mass Effect series over and over again, and I'm thrilled to see it getting destroyed. Good luck to letterswords, and here's to a great cause. Kila Salai. We have $25 from Delta KD8. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, Shep. Sad to see a run without my best Krogan friend, but I'm loving the speedy refresher on one of my all-time favorite games. Yeah. Best of luck to the runners, and save Kaden.
I'm sorry, Kaden.
Well, you never know what could happen processing in the next few minutes.
Yeah, whatever. You're saving a few frames in the dialogue, so it's all right.
I guess it's all right. We have $150 from Hello Nurse. My fiancé and I are first-time donors, long-time viewers, and huge Mass Effect fans. I lost my mom to cancer 5 years ago, and video games helped me cope with her loss. I now am an ICU nurse and help very sick people every day. Thank you, AGDQ and PCF, for all you do. Good luck, letterswords. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
Yeah, my father actually was saved by early detection, so
All right.
it's very important.
So we're going to have to cut off reading donations for now, because now we're actually at the part that we have to do something.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to park the Mako right here. And if my positioning was right, when I go hit the button up here, I should be able to enter the Mako by just walking along the edge here. So this is the second most likely place I am to die, other than the place where I actually did die. So let's hope it doesn't happen
Yeah,
here.
it's
And that's
basically-
both of these gates where I'm likely to,
it's-
could die.
It's primarily because of these Geth destroyers, which
Yes.
can just
Yeah.
run up and bash you to death.
And you also want to keep them alive because they give you combat to run back. That is an edge 3.
That's better.
Yeah.
That is better. One better than an edge 2.
Yeah, there are 3 weapons that you want to get that
Oh,
are actually.
wow.
Oh no.
That is
Okay.
So
really
that's
bad.
that's a thing that can happen. So
Fortunately, the Mako isn't actually dead. This is something that actually happened to me in my first marathon run for a now defunct event called Crystals for Life, which is the precursor to RPG Limit Break. What happened there is the party and an enemy got stuck on opposite sides of the Mako. So that entire time that he was
All
going
right.
up to the
To
gate,
make sure this doesn't happen, I'm going to kill these guys on the bottom.
they were just shooting the Mako up. Fortunately, unlike was the case with me, they didn't quite do enough damage to destroy the Mako.
That was like as close as it can be to dead without being dead.
Yeah.
I've never seen it take that much damage and still be alive.
Yeah, so that was almost very bad because he would have gotten sent back to the very beginning of
Okay,
the
go
Vermeer
away.
trench run.
Thanks. Okay, I think I should survive here probably. I'm going to kill these guys though.
Yeah. you
Just
should
to
be
make
good.
sure. Alright. Okay, come on. Okay. I probably would have died there if that had not been parked in the right place, but, you just gotta hope sometimes. Alright, we should be good on the Mako now.
Yeah.
We won't die.
There's nothing dangerous after this unless you decide to be an idiot.
Yeah, well, let's try not to do that. Okay, we're really gonna have to cut off Ashley versus Kaden now. So whatever the last refresh is.
It looks like nothing's really moved. It is indeed Ashley who we will be saving.
All right, Ashley. That makes it easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I also made backup saves for this because it's possible I could accidentally pick the wrong person if I needed to pick Kaden, but to survive. But that won't be a problem with Ashley.
Yeah, basically, we want to fight Saren in one specific location. There are 2 locations the fight can happen. If you send Ashley or Kaden with the Solarians, then you have to go to the place that we don't want to go. So we want to send the person that we're letting die with the Solarians. And so The default option in the center is to send Kayden with them. So Ashley will be at the place we're going to. And so it makes it a little bit easier to save Ashley because you don't have to make sure that you pick that other dialogue option.
Bye, Kaden. Sorry. So yeah.
Not Liara.
Yeah, not Liara. So one thing I do want to point out, which is pretty cool that you won't see here, and that's just a consequence of the planet order, is you'll see me do a skip when I get back to the Citadel in a little bit for the last visit. If you do that skip after having going to Vermeer, but it's not the time where you're forced back to the Citadel, you'll actually be able to get every party member just randomly added to your party.
Yeah.
And that'll bring Ashley and or Kaden back to life. So you can have Ashley and Kaden both with you for Ilos and beyond if you really want to.
That was actually a donation incentive that was met in my Crystals for Life run.
Had it been possible in the planet order, I definitely would have made that the third option for the incentive we just did, but it was just not to be.
Yeah, it would probably cost. It wouldn't cost a ton of time, but it would definitely cost time to change the planet order to.
Yeah, and then it adds
accommodate
about
that.
probably a minute or two to the estimate to have to do that one.
Yeah, you have to do the skip again, which is probably about a minute, assuming it goes well, which it should.
Yes.
And then maybe another half a minute to a minute by changing the planet order.
So yeah, definitely a. Oh man.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? A New Game Plus run could definitely do that planet order and be fine.
Yeah, for New Game Plus.
Planet order doesn't really matter at all for New Game Plus.
Yeah, the only thing that it matters for is where you get your grenade drops in New Game Plus.
Yeah, and cutscene skips. So I would still do the Thorian fight in Pharaohs before I got Liara, just because that cutscene skip is not important, and I wouldn't have to do it, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the literal worst button in the game. If
Yes.
you're not looking at it at the right exact way, you can't press it.
Yeah, because there's the button for the door overrides the button for the console. The button for the door does nothing, and the button for the console is what you want to hit. So you need to angle yourself in such a way that you cannot see the button for the door.
So that was the best I've done it in any of my runs since getting to AGDQ, so cool.
Yeah.
At least one thing went well.
There have been times when it's taken me 15, 20 seconds to hit that stupid button just because I can't get the right angle.
All right, so coming up here, this is another fight where enemies will spawn over time, but if you kill all of the enemies, then you'll be able to proceed, even if not all of them have spawned yet. So
Yes.
you gotta be.
Basically, you have to kill Dr.
I'm
Joyous.
very confused. Oh, is it just on cooldown? That's why.
Yeah, Dr.
Okay.
Joyous' assistant and that first husk.
Yeah.
And then you should be able to open this door because you'll be out of combat, and the game just checks, are you out of combat? Okay, now you can open the door. And then there are more husks that appear, but they don't matter because you've opened the door and you've moved past.
So yeah, this bridge still has collision, even though it's not down yet. So we can just walk straight across here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible to fall down below, and that's not good. But as long as you're in the right position, you'll just kind of phase through the raised portion of the bridge, just like he did there, without any issue. And there are a few crates and chests that he's going to be checking in a little bit, and hopefully he's going to get a Stiletto, a Raikou, or what's the other one, a Stinger?
Stinger, yeah.
Yeah, those are the three best pistols that he has access to currently. So if he gets one of them, then he's going to have a significantly faster final boss fight, especially.
And he also has the possibility to get an edge 4 or 5, which would be
Yeah,
a slight
so
upgrade.
rank 5 weapons are the best you can technically get during the run, but it's really unlikely. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, he's still actually wearing his initial armor, which is not ideal. He should have or get.
Oh.
All right, I'm just going to check if I have anything better. I don't.
Well, you did
Okay.
get a gun and
Yeah.
How about that? That'll regen my health a bit at least.
Yeah.
As long as I'm just going to hide back here so I don't die. Okay. Yeah, my Metagel is not going to be off cooldown anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, ideally he would have gotten something a little better than the silverback somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I just got too many direct hits from those drones, and they do a lot of damage. Usually, they're pretty bad at hitting you, though, so it's usually not a problem, but...
Yeah, you can kind of stutter your sprint to be a little bit more dodgy, but you usually don't have to.
Yeah, usually you can just run straight up as fast as possible and get hit, like, once, but I got hit twice that time, which is pretty bad. Alright, so... we're going to take our next level up in a second here after this cutscene, but there's one thing I'm going to do that I'm just not going to explain at all, and you guys are going to just figure out what happened later. So yeah, so we're going to go in here and do this real quick. My only hint will be, this is related to why we don't want to use Liara until like right near the end of the run. And specifically, like here is the first time we want to use Liara, so that's why we're doing Therum so late now.
Yeah.
Like we could go in like Novaria, Therum, Pharos, which would probably be like ideally a nicer route, but no, it's just not a good idea. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for this cutscene to play so Liara gets added to my party, and then I'll do my level up because I need to level her up specifically. So that's why I turned off level up there.
Yeah, Liara is effectively forced into your party here because you don't have Garrus or Rex.
Yeah. So I have to take whatever party members I can with me. So, you know, in a casual playthrough, you'll have probably access to 4 people to pick to go with you here. We only have 2 here. And if you had done Vermeer before Therum, you'd actually only have 1 person to bring with you here. Okay. All right, so next level up. All right, so I'm gonna level myself up first.
So it's important that he gets to 9 Intimidate here. He could also do Charm, but Intimidate is what we use because of being forced into the Renegade path. And he needs to get a certain amount of Renegade points to get to that threshold, which is why we did things the way we did to get a bunch of Renegade points. You get a couple free ranks as well, which is nice. But in order to skip a boss fight later, you need to be able to pass a couple persuade checks.
Oh, wow.
That's okay.
And it could be worse.
Yeah, you got a higher rank Kessler, but Kessler is like complete trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kessler 4 is literally worse than 2 of anything else other than 1 gun. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. So, one thing nice about having Master Singularity on Liara is this fight is much better. But that's not why we get it.
It is a nice added benefit.
Yeah.
So usually if we have a good gun, there's a crate up here. We can usually just skip it if we have a good gun at this point, but Edge3 is like all right, but I'd rather have a good gun if I can, and this is like the last real opportunity I'll have to get a better one. Okay, no luck.
Scorpion 4 might be better than your
I'm gonna
current
quick
armor,
save
though.
here to make sure I don't screw this dialogue up.
It appears the Geth have sent reinforcements.
That box has, in practice, been very fruitful for you. You got...
Yeah, so I've got better luck in practice runs for this than I've ever gotten. Like, I got what did I get? A Stiletto 5, which is literally a gun I didn't even think it was possible to get in this because it's so much better than all the other guns.
It is the best possible gun.
Like,
to
it does
get.
190 damage, I think, or something very close to that. And my gun right now does like 130. So it's, like, this gun is not bad, but it's like significantly worse than Stiletto 5.
So he's glitched back here, and these Geth,
So yeah,
their AI is broken. They're not doing anything. And it's important that you don't talk to your party here because it can interrupt dialogue and soft lock.
Yeah. So, like, normally earlier when you were interrupting dialogue, it would allow the cutscene to play. Here, it just makes the cutscene never play. And he has a very important dialogue coming up here.
Yeah.
yeah, that's another good reason to have quick. Well, I guess I quick save to go out of bounds, so it's not a big deal if I need to reload here to make that right option.
So he's going to pick the top right option here a couple times, and then over here he can go get this persuade option. And what that does, it doesn't do anything now, but it does lower the threshold required for a later persuade check against Saren. It reduces it from 12, which is the maximum number of points you can have in a skill, to 9, which he already has.
Yeah. And the way the Renegade system works is like you need to get so much what do you call it?
Renegade points.
Yeah, renegade points in order to put points into Intimidate in order to make the persuasion check. So that's why he needs to make all of these choices in order to get a sufficient renegade points to hit these thresholds.
Yeah, because if you saw it, he only could put, I think, 10 points into it
Yeah.
at most, and he's not really going to be getting any more renegade points
Yeah.
before that next check that he needs to make.
Yeah, like it's impossible in this run to get up to the 12 threshold.
Yeah, so in New Game Plus, we don't actually have to make that dialogue option because we do have 12 points. So we can just do it easily.
And another thing about New Game Plus is that every time you play through the game, you get a free point in both Charm and Intimidate. So you just play through the game like 12 times, and then you'll just have a bunch of free points.
You only have to do it 3 times, actually.
Oh, yeah, because you also get points from getting Renegade and Paragon.
Yeah, so you can get 4 points per playthrough. There are infinite Paragon and Renegade exploits. So you can get it pretty
All right,
quickly.
so now we're forced back to the Citadel, and this is a skip you'd have to do if you wanted to get, Kaden and Ashley back to your party, but it cannot be on this visit to the Citadel. It won't do anything. So you have to have like a visit to the Citadel that's after Vermeer, but Vermeer can't be the last planet you go to.
But there's no reason in the run to go back to it, so you'd have to watch this whole cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since the route used to be Therum last, that's why I was able to do it at this point in my Crystals for Life.
So
Right, so, sorry.
when there wasn't cutscene skips found yet,
Yeah.
you wanted to have Liara last for cutscene reasons.
And a consequence of that is that you can take Liara to the Liara recruitment mission.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exterior atmosphere. Logged. The commanding officer is ashore.
And in
Exit-
100% you can...
Let's do this.
Yes.
Yeah, not
So
a bad
this
idea.
is a place where you have to go out of bounds twice, and it's very easy to get lost. So this is a nice place to make a save.
Yeah, but as I was about to say, in 100%, you would also glitch down to the bottom floor of the Normandy, so you can have Garrus in your party while you're talking to Garrus to get his little character mission.
So yeah, if you don't line this one up properly, you're just dropping through blackness, and you'll never hit the Normandy if you don't line it up properly. So that's why I made the backup save there, because you have your quick save is, getting back in. So if you didn't line it up right, you just get stuck in.
Yeah, well, you would.
I've never seen that happen before.
That can happen to you. Usually not there, but in other places, you can actually get stuck in the geometry and have to reload the save and try the skip again.
All right, so now we're headed to Ilos. So yeah, we skip basically the entire lockdown sequence.
Yeah,
on
you're
the Citadel.
supposed to go down and talk to some people and get them to unlock you. But if you just are able to clip into the ship, then you can fly away.
Yeah, and that is the easiest way to clip back in the ship. You just go out, drop down, clip back up.
But the problem with it is that, if you don't line it up properly, when you reload the save, you're out of bounds. You have no point of reference. You don't know which way you messed it up. So that's why you needed that safety save.
Yeah, and I have many a time failed that when I was on PB pace. So yeah, that is my kryptonite. That skip.
Yeah, mine as
Through
well,
my
actually.
speedrunning history of this game, it has caused more problems than anything else.
It's the one I tend to have the roughest time with as well.
As a percentage of times that I get to that far in the run, I've failed there so many times, more than any other skip or anything. All right, so now we're on Ilos. Ilos is an interesting planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna let this trick speak for itself rather than explain it. This is something that's been known about for quite a long time. I think the actual first recording of doing something vaguely similar to this was before the PC version of this game even came out. But finding a way to, and then a refined version came from Your Name Here, sort of refined. He found a different way to do it, but it was still not really at all remotely viable. And then I just decided, well, what if we do something slightly differently here? And that has put it into the run. So the way I'm going to do this is actually probably not going to be faster, but I just want to make sure that I do definitely pull it off, because it's not that consistent if I try to do it the fast way.
Yeah. It will certainly be faster, but you pretty much get one shot at it. Otherwise, it will lose time.
Yeah.
But you do skip an elevator ride, so it's a big.
Oh yeah, I need to make sure they stay here. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Alright, so having these bad guns is actually going to make this pretty hard. So I'm going to try to kill everything off here to make this safer. But in an actual, like, real attempt, you would not want to kill this second armature here. You'd only want to kill one. This one can kind of still hit you when you're trying to do the glitch, but you want to just... Okay, so another thing I'm going to do that you wouldn't do is I'm going to kill this guy so I can make a save. Again, to make sure that I get more than one chance of this, because it is possible I could completely fail this and then get stuck. Okay, so we should be good to try this now. Okay. Oh, we're going to need to reload the save anyways. Okay. All right. Yeah, so just watch and see this game being a video game. So yeah, we're just flying now.
Yeah.
Yep. And that allows us to clip down into this elevator shaft, which is the elevator shaft you're supposed to like take to get back up. And we can just drop down here and get into this fight.
Yeah.
And that, you know, if you do it the, you know, optimal, fast way, that saves quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I purposely just did it in a way that I could definitively show it off.
Yeah, and the elevator that he skipped going down was not the one that he just ran down. It was
yeah, so it's the one at the opposite end of the room from where
so you would have to go like completely through this entire other section of the level.
Hold on.
So yeah, that is Mass Effect for you.
Yes.
Physics.
And he needed Master Singularity there.
Yeah, so that's kind of the reason why it had never been done before. You know, the previous ways of doing that, or knowing that you could do that, is like, we knew that you had to lift to get the box to fall on top of you, so you'd clip on top of it. But then every other way we had done with it before required like lining up multiple lifts and singularities to get high enough to get up on top of that thing. But I was just like messing around on New Game Plus, trying to do it. And I, you know, was messing around with Singularity, and I kept putting more and more points into Singularity, and found out that if you did Master, you could just get it to lift you on top from where the box was. So all you needed to do was get on top of the box and send yourself flying. So that's why I had to do it on Liara. You know, make sure she had points. You can also do it with 2 Singularities, which may end up being the faster way after we look into it more. You could, you know, use it, get Singularity on the main character.
You need Advanced Singularity.
Yeah, Advanced Singularity. So you need to drop 6 points into it that you need to pull out from somewhere else. I won't go into too much explanation of what you would do. But then you just use Adrenaline Burst to Singularity twice. And you really have to place the Advanced Singularities in specific spots to actually get it to work. So like the actual act of lining it up would take longer, but like not having to go into the menus to you know, get advanced or Master Singularity on Liara would be why it saves time to do it that way over the way we just did it. So it's not yet clear what the best way of doing it is, because this was basically just put together in the last couple weeks. Mostly because I was like, I really would like to be able to show this off at AGDQ, and I was like, how can I do this? Because I had originally just been like, okay, when I found a way to do it with Massive Singularity, I was like, okay, this is just like a New Game Plus only thing, because you'll never get enough points to do this on New Game.
Yeah, technically, this route, like, we were still fine-tuning it in the practice room.
Yeah, so this route is certainly not, like, 100% set in stone, because most of this stuff has just been being worked on the past few weeks. It is still being worked on and timed and such. Okay. So from here on out, ILS is pretty straightforward, so we can do some more donations if you want.
We have another $5 from Rex. Shepherd. We have the anonymous $160 donation. My wife and I love the Mass Effect series, and it's so cool to see it speedrun. Shout out to the great couch voice acting on cutscenes.
Yeah, so I'm not as good of a voice actor, but when I used to be playing this game a lot, I would just, start saying all these lines in a really high-pitched voice because, I would get really bored watching them over and over again. Usually the ones at the beginning of the game because, yeah. Oh, so that's one thing I didn't really talk about way back at the beginning of the game. You saw that I loaded a save on the beginning of the ship, which some of you might think, oh, that's kind of not really playing a new game or whatever. So we used to actually go through the whole, opening cutscene and the character creation, which takes literally forever, because the character creation takes like 4 minutes. The opening cutscene is like 3 minutes. So you have 7 minutes before you even start playing, basically. And then you play for 15 seconds, and then you have another 2-minute cutscene. So I was just like, I've had enough of this. Let's just start from a save on the ship. And no one else was around to disagree with me. So
I'm okay with it.
Well, it's also what you did for Mass Effect 2, because Mass Effect 2 has an even longer opening
yes,
cutscene.
so Mass Effect 2 is more questionable what we do. So Mass Effect 2 has like a 9-minute opening sequence before you get on the Lazarus station, like after you get resurrected. And we actually don't do any of that anymore. That was more questionable because you have to spend like 10 or 15 seconds running around on the exploding Normandy. But I had done it that way for quite a while, and some new runners eventually came in, and they're like, "Why are we doing this to ourselves?" And I was like, "Okay, let's not do this anymore." So that run is actually, maybe more questionable if it's actually playing the whole game, but the feeling of just getting right into the game instantly, because that game is like really front-loaded on all the unskippable cutscenes. From that point forward, there's really not that many. There's like a couple, like pretty late in the game, and that's about it. And none of them are particularly long. With uninterrupted by gameplay. So that game is like a pretty fast-paced run for most of it now. And is pretty cool now. Yeah, I'll do some shout-outs here. So back when Mass Effect Andromeda was, maybe a month out from coming out, Mass Effect 2 was really not that broken of a game. There was like 2 kind of out-of-bounds-ish skips that were done, and they were not like that interesting, and they were not done in every route, so it was pretty straightforward. But thanks to Emilio, he found 4 or 5 new out-of-bounds that really added a lot to that run. And then Strife Rider found another one, and also found that a pretty cool glitch as well, which is not really a skip, but it saves a lot of time. So shoutouts to them for Mass Effect 2. They've really changed that a lot in the past few years. Tentacle Pie as well. He's the world record holder in Mass Effect 2. He's a pretty cool guy, and he's really good at that game. So yeah, Mass Effect 2 is probably the next best speedrun in the series. It's actually faster than 1, mostly because of the lack of unskippable cutscenes. There's a lot more if you just measure actual gameplay time, it is longer than this game. Mass Effect 3 is completely glitchless, 3.5 hours long. Just don't speedrun it. Well, it's actually more like 3 hours long. And Andromeda is, well, Andromeda.
Yeah. So
Although Andromeda is a better speedrun, technically speaking, than 3.
I would debate that.
Okay,
So-
it's a more interesting speedrun than
Sure,
Mass
it
Effect 3.
is much less fun to speedrun than Mass Effect 3, even if Mass Effect 3 is a lot of doing nothing.
Yeah, so Andromeda has quite a few skips, but they are like the most inconsistent thing in the world. And you're also just playing Mass Effect Andromeda, so I mean, come on.
That was a 14. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
14 is good
14
there.
seconds is pretty much the fastest I think any of us ever get on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you normally get a 13.
Yeah.
But one of the things he did there, like going into that cutscene, is he used the Mako's jet. So instead of stopping like here, I don't know if you can.
No, over
okay,
here, yeah.
So over here, yeah. Now you can see me. So basically, if like my knee is where the slope starts going down, instead of kind of stopping right at the top of it, he would have ended up here. But instead, he flew to over here. So he made it, I think, a little over twice as far as he would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So without that, even a 13 is impossible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so we're closing in on the end here. So yeah, this game doesn't, the skips never end here. We're just
Yeah.
continuing to go out of bounds because, cool
Yeah,
game.
so a little bit of a clip there out of bounds here, and now he's going to crouch and uncrouch and just fall down to another part.
Yeah, luckily the next part of this level is below the first part.
Yeah. So yeah, back to shouting out other people. Amelia also found quite a few skips in Mass Effect Andromeda, and mostly ways to apply the skips. So the main kind of glitch in Andromeda is that you can, clip through walls by doing a really dumb thing, and it's really inconsistent. And he found a lot of places to make that useful. Shoutouts to Altadella, who also runs that game. He has the world record. He found an out of bounds that doesn't require doing that. That's really crazy looking, and you fall 100 feet down to hit the bottom of the level, because the bottom of the level is way below the top of the level where you get out of bounds. And he also is crazy enough that he did an 100% speedrun of Mass Effect Andromeda, and it took him 22 hours. So shoutouts to crazy Australians for somehow finding their way to play 22 hours of Mass Effect Andromeda straight. And yeah, shoutouts to, I guess, Retro Gamers. He is the world record holder in Mass Effect 3, and he's pretty much the only person who was crazy enough to run that game for a while. Although he does not speedrun anymore, because, real life. But he's a cool guy, too.
All right, so this is the fight here that we're skipping with Persuade. This Saren hoverboard fight can be pretty quick, but it can also take a while depending on various factors. But you can skip it. So obviously it's faster to do that. Even if you get an ideal fight, it's faster to skip it. But he's going to make sure that he's not picking the neutral option here. One thing that's worth mentioning is that when you dialogue skip, the cursor always starts at the default spot. Even if it immediately goes to the position you last had it in, for one frame, it is on the default spot.
And that's only on the PC version also.
Yeah. So so it's actually important for a few of these dialogues, like that one, the first Saren one, and
That's unfortunate.
yeah, you want Master Lift ideally, just because it.
And I'm 1
it's
point
longer.
short of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm 100 experience short of leveling up. I could have paid attention more, and I could have killed some Geth. It's okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
So this is the only Paragon choice we'll make in the whole run.
Yes.
Intentionally.
shorter cutscene by 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you actually make pretty much all Paragon choices in New Game Plus because,
They're generally faster.
yeah, generally faster.
And almost all of the default options result in the shorter cutscenes, except for this one.
Yeah. So the default option here is actually the Renegade option of letting it blow up. So yeah, this fight is probably going to be pretty hard. I really don't have that good of equipment here. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but not much you can do about that.
Yeah, the basic premise is that you want to stun lock the Saren Husk as much as possible. / Sovereign. It's
Yeah,
pretty-
I'll do it. So ideally, you can stun him twice, once with lift and once with throw. And if you have a good enough gun, that'll be enough to hit the second phase of the fight. But with the guns I have, there's no way that's going to be enough. And that, if you don't have, if you have to use more than 2 knockdowns to take him out in the first phase, that really messes with the second phase.
Yeah, one backup thing you can do here is take off squad power usage and just have Liara use lift manually, but then you're not getting a lot of the tech stuff from Tali. So, it's kind of debatable whether it's worth it, because, yeah, you get that extra stun lock time, but you have to shoot Saren that much more. And then you also have to go in the menu, which costs time. Whereas even when he's hopping around, you can generally get a fair number of shots in him, so it's arguably not worth it even then.
All right, so we need to be ready on time in a couple minutes here, just as a warning.
Yeah, there are 2 phases to this fight, and there's a cutscene in between them. So at the end of the second one, that's when time is.
Yeah. So I'll call out, when to do it as well. Right before. Oh, I didn't do that. Well,
It worked out.
Yeah. Oh. Other than warping Tally instead of him.
Yeah. So normally he switches to the shotgun before this fight because Saren can overload your weapons, but luckily he was able to get the lift off.
Yeah, overloading your
Yeah,
weapon.
see, so this is the problem. So if I had a good gun, he would already be dead, or like have hit half health, and I would have gone to the next phase. Now I'm probably going to need to waste this here, unfortunately, because
Oh.
Okay.
well, at least I didn't waste both lift. Lift is the worst one to waste because it stuns him for longer than throw does. All right, so now we're on the second phase of the fight. So time is coming up in maybe like a minute at most, probably more like 30 to 45 seconds after this cutscene.
That's about right.
Sovereign's too strong. We have to pull back.
Negative. This is our only chance. Take that monster down no matter what the cost.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, you can miss lift pretty
Yeah,
easily
okay.
once
Yeah.
he starts
Well-
moving.
Because his second phase, he jumps around a lot more.
Yeah, so this is going to take a while now because I missed the lift. Yeah, and
So the final boss obviously has a lot of
Probably
health
just
and
gonna
a lot
have
of
to-
shields.
it's quite possible I might just have to wait for one of these to get off cooldown to actually kill him. Probably looks like throw is going to be off cooldown first. Yeah, this is bad. So yeah, this is why you really don't want to have to use more than 2 on the first phase, because you really can't damage him at all if you don't knock him down here.
Time.
Time. Not too bad.
Yeah.
This is pretty similar to most of my practice ones. Obviously, I had to reload that save, so it's kind of invalid, but not too bad. All right, so yeah, I got most of my shoutouts in already, but I just want to shout out your name here and Alec on the couch for helping me out. Also want to shout out Wymorn. He's the one person kind of who invested a lot of time into this game who I haven't shouted out. He has a New Game Plus world record. He comes back, for a couple weeks every once in a while and just, improves New Game Plus.
Yeah, he doesn't play the game unless somebody gets the world record, and then he'll come back and beat it in 2 days.
But yeah, he's a cool guy, and he's the guy who got me into this game. When I started playing this game, there was no tutorial. He was basically the only person running this category. So I basically just looked at his PB and taught myself how to do everything, and really got into this. And I actually, really, the reason I first started playing this game was I was originally a Mass Effect 2 speedrunner, and I just had this crazy idea. I was like, what if I played all 3 back-to-back in a single setting? And I did. So I learned both 1 and 3 to do that. And after I did that, I was like, 1 is a lot of fun to play. So I ended up doing 1 a lot more, and 1 is probably now the one I've speedrun the most. All right. So yeah. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of the marathon.
All right, awesome job on that Mass Effect run, Letters Words.